NANOG 84 Hackathon. It's been a very successful weekend of hacking. First, we're going to start with the organizers of the event. So, Michael, why the theme giving back to open source?
Because all of us who are here using this open source software, we use it day in and day out. We were fortunate enough to reach out to a number of project maintainers from GNMI Gateway to GNMI C, Container Lab, Scrapply, Scrappy Go, Foxen, Napalm, Baking, and PeeringDB. And so like all of the maintainers were very gracious to come here and help us to develop so that we can help them and give back to the community.
So why the scavenger hunt and making the infrastructure available as a network engineer lab?
So I think a lot of people are generally intimidated by this concept of hacking and wanting to get into software. We are, after all, a networking first conference. So we wanted to just make things as welcoming as possible to as many people, take the side of like a real big tent event. And so if somebody is a little bit curious about this, but isn't quite brave enough to jump into software development and hacking on their own, or right off the bat, they can come in here and just start with a scavenger hunt where they learn something, or just be able to use the network infrastructure we have to start developing network engineering skills.
Perfect. So any idea of what the theme will be for NANOG 85?
Well, we're going to see what people think about the theme this time around. We have had the largest number of participants since we started the virtual and hybrid format of the hackathon. And so if this is a popular format, if this is a popular topic of working with popular open source projects, we'll probably do it again.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
And Carl, can you turn on your camera?
Not at the moment. I'm sorry. I'm a little in the middle of some stuff. Yeah.
Okay, no problem, Carl. So what help were you able to get this weekend?
We got a contribution to Scrapply NetConf to add commit confirmed, which is probably a feature that should have already existed, but Dennis was able to add that. So I just kind of worked with him, fighting linters and appeasing formatters and all that kind of stuff. He did pretty much all the work without really any help from me. So I had a pretty easy time of it.
So what help were you able to provide?
Yeah, just working through like formatting errors and appeasing MyPy and some stuff like that from a typing perspective, since it's a Python project. Really, like I said, pretty easy on my end. So Dennis did all the hard work. So it's pretty chill.
So why is that important though?
The linters are just there to kind of make sure everything stays tidy and orderly and all that. So, but of course, every project has a little bit different setup with different linters or different, configurations for those. So it's, it's always kind of probably a pain for people to jump in and contribute. So just try to help kind of steer that and get all the checks passing, green lights everywhere and all that jazz.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all your help. We appreciate you talking to us today. Is there another project maintainer that would like to share?
I'm Leo Vagoda, representing PeeringDB, and we worked on a project this weekend. Most of the work, well, I say more than 99% of the work was done by Renato Almeida de Oliveira. And what he did was he built API search intersection functionality for PeeringDB. So this means that if you want to find out where a set of AS numbers appear at an internet exchange point or an interconnection facility, instead of having to query one by one and then build up your own data set and then do your offline analysis, you can just ask one question to PeeringDB and it can give you one answer, and that's done over the API. So it was a very specific feature. Now we have that. We will need to duplicate the functionality on the web interface because we try to keep parity between the two interfaces, but we have this and we're going to line it up for beta testing and then production deployment. So really grateful to NANOG for hosting this hackathon, which is delivering results for the PeeringDB community. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you so much, Leo. I always appreciate your time and energy. I would love to talk to a participant if anyone would like to step in.
Okay, so we are Team Napalm, and yes, Ken was in the team. And we also had Leo, myself, Christian, and Josh. And we are from Network to Code. And we want to share our learning experience. So these talking points are to keep me on track, actually. So we had a very mixed team from first-time contributors to up to maintainers and all the levels of experience in between. What helped us a ton was the labels. So we were able to search for good issues to work on. So please keep adding those. They add a lot of great content. The reviews were very constructive, and we learned and we improved our PRs. Some prior work that we've managed to finally finish in this hackathon, and of course, Mircha's availability, the maintainer of this project. It was wonderful for him to jump in any problem and help us. And of course, a solid testing framework that Napalm has. So thank you for that. Anything that we did, if the unit test broke, we were able to figure it out and solve it. So we did a lot of stuff. We contributed 4 different things for Napalm Core, did some time hinting, did an advanced method for diff config for Cisco and XOS. We also added netutils for Cisco conf parse and fixed the GPL license, and added some MAC IP checks for getters. We also had the Napalm PanOS, where we added log configuration, the ability to log configuration, a new method, our tables. We did all the jazz we could for that repository to add actions and PyPy and all of these fun things. We found the bug and fixed the bug for getting the faces and fixed another bug for LLDP. So by the numbers, this was really incredibly fun. We had 4 PRs and most of them have been merged. So we fixed 3 issues in the core, 2 bugs fixed, and we touched a lot of files, so hopefully we didn't break anything. And then for PanOS, 7 PRs, features, 4 new features, 3 fixes, releases, 3 releases actually during this weekend, and several hours of fun and learning. So we want to thank you, the organizers, for giving us the opportunity to give back to the community, and especially a project that is dear to our hearts. And we also want to not thank Git Rebase because that gave us a lot of pain. However, this is what happens when lots of people fall into something and all of that. So that's it.
All right, I guess I'll just gonna go next. Hi everyone, my name is Alex, and we had a team here at Hackathon with Barry and Tony. So it was hopefully very productive. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay.
Alex, why did you choose the topic that you chose?
I like on my daily job, I work a lot with emulated topologies. And it always this question, like, okay, I defined it in this, text file format. What it's really like? We are looking to leverage visualization to just show counters and stuff, like how traffic flows through the topology. That would be helpful.
So Jay, what was the most rewarding part of this?
Well, like I said, I wasn't planning on working with DNAsh today, but the most rewarding was just really the serendipitous way of finding something, something to do and create something that I didn't plan by myself, but just came together out of working together with several different people.
What was the most challenging?
There's so many factors and things that go into networking. I know some things, other people know some things. It's finding the common ground.
And what did you learn about your skill set during this process?
I had a plan of what I wanted to achieve, right? I wrote a blog post when I started, and I defined a list of methods and APIs, and that was going to be my, completing that was my goal. And then I met Dinesh today, and on one hand, you could say we didn't achieve what I set out to achieve, right? We didn't reach all those markers. But together with Dinesh, he was able to submit, to contribute to the project and submit, I believe, what may have been his first pull request ever, right? So it was a small thing. He changed a little flag. There was a flag that the Arista box needed in order to speak GNMI, to insecure flag, and he changed it from true to false or false to true. It's small, but it was a small step for man, big step for mankind.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate you sharing with us today.
We're a group of students from Ball State University in a master's program studying information and communication sciences. I'm Robin, and I have a history in network and system administration, so I have an interest towards that technical side of things. Today, we worked on mostly figuring out how to connect to these instances, as well as getting familiarity with the terms and the new systems. For me, this was my first time not using Cisco, so it was really interesting to see the similarities and the differences. And for a lot of my classmates, it was their first time seeing a lot of these things, so their experience was a little bit different than mine.
So my name is Jacob Smith. Like Robin said, we're in an information communication sciences master's program, but I don't come from a tech background. I come from business. I actually studied anthropology in undergrad, and it's my second semester program, so it still gets my footing with the whole tech thing. So it was really cool to work with Robin. She knows a lot more than me, so I'll learn a lot of things, specifically about SSH and do a little bit and Telnet, and then learn a lot through the scavenger hunt as well.
You said this was your first time doing something like this, and your background isn't in tech. What would you say to someone with a similar background who wanted to try out something like this for the very first time?
I would just say come in with an open mind and be someone who wants to listen to other people and learn as much as you can, and don't try to be someone that acts like you know everything about everything.
Sound advice.
Come here ready to learn, not ready to prove yourself.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
Hi, this is Sean. I'm from Coal Technologies. So the purpose for me coming over here, there are three purposes, of course, like anybody. So one is definitely all about tech that goes on here. I'm very intrigued by all the new stuff that happens in the industry. I do have a old cohort that I need to run into. So Abdullah is here. He's from Singtel. So I run into him, and then I have Mike and Chris, who I trouble them a lot. So it's always a good meeting point. So regarding this hackathon, so the guys at Container Labs, they have done amazing work, I must say, because we all know how we are comfortable with Macs and Linux. So what I put them to test against is Windows. So I have a Surface, and then I basically install the instance of WSL, which is the Linux subsystem available for use on Windows version 2, and then pull their Container Labs into it, and it performed amazingly well. So I must congratulate them for getting it hitless. And basically it opens up avenue for people to adapt more, hack more, and doesn't get constrained by the fact that they don't have Mac or Linux. So good job, guys.
I'm Michael. I worked along with Ali, who will be coming up next. I've been really interested in Container Lab for a couple of months now, and one of the things that I think is really neat about it is how it shows its graph functionality. Now, the thing that I thought I had a similar want as Alex, Barry, and Tony, except they did a much better job than the hack that I did, which was I see all these nodes connected, but I don't know what the interfaces are. So I went into the code and I made interfaces nodes, and then connected the interfaces to the containers, and then the interfaces to one another. And so now the graph looks like this, where we have little dots representing the interfaces, and they connect together. So it's not the prettiest thing, but it gives this idea of topologies And so if Container Lab wanted to start having higher level constructs of things like fabrics or line cards within the chassis, you can start grouping these things in layers that are connected together. And so, Ali, do you want to say a couple things of what you worked on?
Thanks, Michael. So, and thanks everybody for putting the hackathon together. It's been a really cool experience. I work with Michael, but I work on more of the layer 1 low voltage side. So I'm much more embedded in the physical layer every day. So I really have not had an opportunity to do anything like this, definitely at least at this scale. But I've been kind of working through my career to try and expand my interest and my knowledge in this space. So Michael and I had discussed a lot of different ways of kind of being able to do that, get the visibility into things like this. And similarly to some people who had said this, I'd only really worked in the Cisco space. So first time working with these applications, it was really interesting to see how the differences of it and fumble through it. And then, you know, I've never worked with Nokia or Arista devices before, although we do support them at our job, or at least Arista's. So it was cool to kind of see and get a little bit of a look into that. I definitely just worked through a lot of basic commands, just kind of got a little bit of a understanding of the space. Michael and I added a node in the topology, so that was really cool to see. He was also kind enough to find some issues with BGP, so we were able to work through that and kind of just see his brain work and how he was troubleshooting. So not that I have anything to present, but definitely took away a lot, and it was a really cool experience.
So Ali, I do have a question for you. If you would have done anything differently, would you have, and what would have been?
Maybe I did know we were going to work in the Arista space, so I probably would have done a little bit of research ahead of time, or even just like iTerm. So I did kind of fumble through a little bit in the beginning to get set up and ready to go and kind of understand the nuances. Maybe just a little bit of Googling ahead of time would have helped me kind of kick it off, but I took a lot of notes, and I think the next time I'm kind of in that CLI space, I'll do it a little better.
And what are you most excited about for future hackathons now that you have had the experience?
I think I feel a little bit more ready to kind of dip my feet in other spaces outside of the hackathon. So possibly the next time I do one, I can actually give back as well. Michael gave a lot to me, but maybe next time I will give something back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ali.
Yeah, thanks.
The last thing is I want to thank everybody who came out. This has been our best showing since the pandemic hit, and we went from a purely virtual NANOG to now this hybrid one. So thank you all for everyone who came out, the participants. Thank you so much to all of the project maintainers who came out and who helped out everybody who's working here. And very much thank you, especially of the project maintainers, to Karim and to Roman for providing Container Lab, which we run all of our virtual infrastructure on. And thanks finally to Les from AWS for providing all these EC2 instances that we got to run this infrastructure on. So thank you, sponsors, maintainers, and participants.